Welcome and thank you for joining us. You're listening to the Beyond 50 radio program. I'm Daniel Davis. On the program today, we're going to talk about how we can reverse aging in the face and perhaps the entire body. We got a tell-all book that's going to be able to help people to do things naturally with little to no products and no fancy gimmicks or tricks. On our program today is our guest, who is author of the book simply titled Heal Your Face. It's a natural strategy without surgery by healing your body and your life. And I'd like to welcome to the program today our guest, Mr. Markus Rothkranz. Markus, thank you for joining us here on the program today.
Hey, Daniel. Nice to be here.
Now, this is a lot of fun here because as a person looks through what you have here in the book, they think, you know, this is not only a lot of common sense, it seems like, but it's pretty easy to do. Talk about your strategy and how you came about creating your book, Heal Your Face.
Well, I wrote a book called Heal Yourself 101, which made it really simple to basically heal anything physically in your body, and there's basic cleansing steps and stuff, but I realized most people really don't care about health. They care about what they see in the mirror. The only time people really care about health is when they have a problem like cancer or some kind of or some they wait till it's human nature, especially in this country, to wait till the very last second to push something as far as you can and then like hop off the plane just before it's about to crash to the ground, and I realized, okay, well, to get through to people, I'm going to have to get them on something that hits a little closer to home, that means something more to them. People don't care about health, they care about what they see in the mirror. And the reason people age is the same reason they get sick. It's the same reason. It's all connected. The truth is the truth. It's universal. So I repackaged it in a way that made people finally pay attention, and that is, well, what bothers people the most is aging at a certain point, or just basically being attractive to other people. That's I guess what it boils down to. We all want to be attractive. We all want to be liked. We all want to be looked up to and liked and loved. And when we start getting wrinkles and aging and losing hair and gaining weight, that makes us less attractive. And well, how can we change that? And people think, well, once you hit a certain age, like around 50, you start becoming at the point of no return, where there's nothing you can do about it. You're just going downhill from there. It's just all that good stuff just starts going away, and there's nothing you can do, and you might as well just accept it. And that's not true, but that's what people think. And if you look in nature, the animals out there, like if you go in the woods and you see a deer, they don't get gray hair, they don't go bald, they don't get fat, they don't have glasses, they don't they just look the same until one day they die. They're just beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it's not, what we call aging is not normal. What we call aging is the result of living an unnatural lifestyle and eating food that's dead, that has no life in it, and not living the way nature intended. So I wrote a book basically on how to, for example, let's say you don't sleep for, or you've pull an all-nighter, you've got some hard work, whatever it is, you're going through some traumatic experience, and you don't sleep for several days. You look in the mirror, you got wrinkles, bags under your eyes, you look terrible, you look 10 years older. And then you do sleep. You catch up on your sleep and you feel better, and the problem is solved and you're rested. You look in the mirror, well, those wrinkles went away again. And now that proves wrinkles are reversible.
Right.
Now the thing is, most people keep doing the same things over and over and over their entire lives. They have the same patterns, they eat the same foods, they have the same, whatever it is they do in their lifestyle, the same thought patterns, the same everything, and therefore the symptoms, the wrinkles or whatever it is that they makes you unattractive, they just keep coming, and they don't go away, and they get worse because you keep doing the same things. So I'm making people not only aware of how to reverse it, but how to recognize what causes it in the first place. And that's, if you look at the cover of the book, you'll see a face, and on that face is written over certain parts of the face are the words liver, heart, kidney, colon, stomach, adrenals. Chinese have known this for thousands of years. Like, we kind of know through reflexology, like if you push on your foot or your hand, that there's it'll affect other, or for example, acupuncture. You touch poke a needle on a certain part of your ear, and you breathe better, or you see better. In other words, it's all connected. There's nerves connecting different parts of your body, and the same with your face. different parts of your face are connected to different body parts, different organs. And if, let's say, your liver starts getting funky on you, you start getting clogged up it shows up as frown lines and crow's feet. You start having kidney problems. You start having puffy bags under your eyes. People don't know that your face is a dash of a car. It's got warning lights all over it. And people just don't know. They get a zit in a certain spot or a pimple or a mole or a crease or a wrinkle. They think, I just got to hide that, put some cream on it. But they don't realize it's a warning light going off. Mm-hmm. And they don't know what it means. They don't even know the fact that it's even a warning light. And once you start realizing this, and this is what the Chinese have known for 3,000 years, like back then, if a patient didn't get healed, the doctor didn't get paid. If the emperor didn't get healed, his physician got beheaded. So they had to learn really quick what actually works, and be able to tell pretty quick by looking at you. And this has been refined for thousands of years, and it works. It really does. I mean, it's amazing now. I can look at people and tell right away what's wrong with them. And what I do is I teach people how to look in the mirror and be able to tell them from themselves, just by looking in the mirror, what's wrong with them. And the book explains how to recognize what body part is starting to go funky inside you and what to do about it, and what common causes are of what leads to that. And that's really the only way to get younger and healthier is not putting some cream on your face or getting plastic surgery, and you're basically just hiding the problem. What you got to do is stop doing what's causing it and start doing the right things, and the body can heal itself if you give it a chance, but most people don't even know where to start with that. So that's why I wrote the book. And by healing your face, you actually heal everything. And it goes the other way around. By healing the other stuff in your body, you as a result, heal your face. Your skin is just the outer, very tip of the iceberg. It's a very outer, delicate layer of a much deeper system. And you got to heal the whole system so that, for the outer stuff to heal.
Now, what I was really surprised about as I was reading and looking through Heal Your Face was, of course, you have what looks like reflexology, in the book where you look at the foot or the hands,
right,
and you see corresponding spots within the bottoms of your feet or on your hands with the organs. But what I was really intrigued by, and I don't remember ever seeing this before, is you have the same thing with teeth.
Yeah.
Now, I hated to to make this reference, but it started kind of cracking me up a little bit, and call it a morbid sense of humor. But with the methamphetamine problem in the Northwest, I thought of these poor people who lose their teeth because of a bad habit, that a lot of other things could be going too. Now, how is it that they corresponded the teeth with certain areas or organs of the body? That one intrigued me a little bit.
Yeah, and I love that one. It's so fascinating. I love it. It's the more you start really learning about the truth of how things are built in nature and the human body, and you just start getting more in wonder and awe that there is got to be some genius who put all this together. I mean, we are the most amazing connected system, not just our body, but how our body connects with nature, and nature connects with the world and the universe and all that. It's amazing. Everything is connected. There are no there's nothing out there that is unnecessary or that wasn't designed for a reason. That's why I even wrote the book or did the documentary on weeds. There is no such thing as weeds. Everything has a purpose. We just don't know what they are. And teeth, everybody thinks teeth are just like these dead hard things they use to chew food with, and that's it. And and they don't realize they're living, breathing things. They have actually circulation inside them. They need air. They have blood going through them. They have nerves. They're living things, and they're connected with everything else in your body. There's 32 teeth. There's 32 vertebrae. They're connected. Like every tooth has a vertebrae that it connects to, and it has a nerve that runs down there and goes out the vertebrae to a body part, like an organ, like your liver, your kidneys, whatever. And why is it that, like, let's say a certain tooth starts rotting, but not other ones? And like if you're eating something that's sugary and bad for you, wouldn't your whole mouth be rotting away? Or why is it that one particular tooth gets it more than others? Well, that tooth has weaker energy. It doesn't have resistance to fight it off like the other teeth do. Well, why is that particular tooth less resistant? Well, trace it back. What's it connected to? Let's follow the cord, the nerve, down the spine, out of the vertebrae, and it ends up in, let's say, the kidney. The kidneys or the pancreas. Well, if you're eating lots of sugar, eating bread, starches, anything that's made with cooked, baked grains, all starches turn into sugar in your body. So you're starting to, put a load on your pancreas or your kidneys, which start inflaming. They get weaker. That nerve gets inflamed. Now it's knocking out the spinal, the what do you call it, the vertebrae that nerve goes through gets knocked out because the nerve is swollen, and it's knocking the vertebrae out. So now your back is out, and now it goes all the way up to your tooth. Your tooth isn't being able to fight it off because it's starting to get, the life force is being sucked out of that tooth, so the sugar starts eating it up more. And so what do people do? They go to the chiropractor to have their back knocked back in place. Well, now you're just adding insult to injury. You're knocking the vertebrae back onto a swollen nerve. There's more pain after that than before, and you pay the guy to mess you up. And then you go to the dentist, and what does the dentist do? He drills out the part that's weak and puts some unnatural stuff in there, and then God forbid, even worse, they put some glue on the front of your teeth and put these fake veneers on it, so now your teeth look great, but they're rotting away underneath, or even worse, they yank out the poor thing and put in a metal post, which is metal in your body. We all know what that, heavy metals and toxic stuff. And anyway, it's just this whole downward spiral, and nobody knows that the whole reason this all started was because you were eating bread or pasta or cereal or some kind of sugary stuff or pasteurized fruit juice or whatever it is, and your pancreas went out of whack. Nobody made the connection between the pancreas or the kidney and the tooth. And and there's every tooth is connected to something else. You got sinus, you got lungs, you got intestines, colon. Every body part is connected to another body part, and they all speak to each other. It's kind of like, the best way I describe it in the book is, let's say you've got like a 4-lane freeway, and all these people are like cells on the body or nerve signals running through, and then there's this congestion on the freeway. There's a blockage of some sort, which could be comparable to a blockage in your body. Either it could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be like that pizza you ate, whatever it is, it's a blockage. Well, now the 4-lane freeway is down to a 1-lane freeway. There's a backup. Now all these people are stuck in their cars, they're not moving, they're cell phoning their office or their home and saying, I can't make it, I'm late. So now the people at home in the office are stressing out. So what happened is you've got a cell stuck in a blockage, which is calling ahead down through a communication line, saying things are screwing up. So what the body does the same thing. If there's a blockage, there's a signal that runs to the other end of the communication line, and it starts stressing out. So if there's a blockage, say in your liver, your colon, whatever, your teeth, your eyes, your face, and it starts showing up. There's like those moles, those zits, those crinkles, those white spots, dark spots, whatever it is. They show up on certain parts of your face or body corresponding to the weaker area or blocked area of they don't just randomly show up. They show up there in a particular place for a reason. If your stomach gets irritated, your cheeks starts getting red. It's very common to see people with red cheeks come out of a restaurant. You can tell right away they ate something that's not conducive to their health, and they don't even know it. It's funny. It's all connected, and you're right. The tooth thing is just I wrote a whole chapter on that. It is just so fascinating.
Yeah, I was really amazed by that because on the one hand you think that teeth you might have this attitude they're just these inanimate hard things that you chew with, but you realize that's not true. And I love the fact that I have, except for that I'm missing my 2 bottom wisdom teeth, and it took 20 years before I had my first one pulled.
Yeah.
That I still have 2 left, but it was funny when I had my first one pulled, I actually went through a little bit of a depression for a couple of days because I was like, God, buddy, I've had you for so long, and that was my first tooth since my baby tooth, that I've actually had pulled, whereas, my stepfather, he had all of his yanked out, and it was like, why didn't you ever take care of him in the first place? Kind of thing.
What people don't realize is when you eat a lot of grains and carbs and baked and cooked foods, especially cooked foods, your teeth start getting really tight. They start people have very, very tightly packed together teeth, and they start crunching like there's too small of a space. And if they eat right, like nature intended, the teeth start spreading out. They actually, you get a wider smile, and your teeth actually have breathing room like they're supposed to. And again, people, they go to a dentist, they start having braces put in to try to yank it back into place, and it doesn't work because you're still doing what's causing it. And now you got metal in your mouth again, or plastic, and it's just, stop trying to hide the symptoms and just deal with what's causing it. And it takes a lot longer to get the teeth back in place, but at least once you realize what's causing the problem, you can rest a little bit knowing, okay, I'm on top of it now, And I had 18 cavities years ago when I was not eating right, and I had metal fillings and you name it. My mouth was just bad, and I started doing the right thing, and all the cavities naturally went away without me having to get them drilled out and filled in and all that. They naturally healed. My teeth healed themselves, just like my eyes did. I don't need glasses anymore. I had glasses thicker than the windshield of my car, and after I started doing the cleansing and the raw foods, man, I went to the eye doctor and I said, I need new glasses. I can't see anymore through these things. He said, well, let's check you out. And he checked me out. He says, you're 2015. That's better than 2020. What did you do? And then I realized, oh my God, I can hear better. I can see better. My teeth are healing themselves. I can think. I can sleep. My hormones are back to what it was when I was 18. It's like the body is totally regenerating itself. This works. The fountain of youth is real. And it's not something that's out there. It's not something you buy. It's not a magic product. It's you living the way nature intended. And we have the most fantastic machine in the universe, one that actually heals itself.
I was looking through your book, and one of the things that really caught my eye, and I kept hearing this from other people, especially a hippie friend here and there, but when you talk about what's out there in nature, we're talking about something that's actually right there and at most people's fingertips if you live in a house with a yard.
Yeah.
And that is dandelions.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I have heard about this over and over, but it was interesting. We had a guest on our program who had one of the community sustainable farms where people can come out and you stay the night, you get fed. Basically what you do is you help out on the farm. That's what you do. But she was talking about dandelions, and she says when you see dandelions in your yard, what that's saying is that your soil is lacking calcium. And she also said the very same thing about being able to use them. And you also talked the same thing. I mean, this is almost like a miracle food.
It is.
Sitting there in your yard, and yet people want to run around with Roundup. And there was a house that I lived in. It was funny because the neighbor had this perfectly kept green yard. And I said, if we ever come into a crisis, we can go out into our yard and eat pretty much everything that's out there.
That's why I wrote why I filmed the documentary Free Food and Medicine, and I'm also coming out with the book in a few months as a field guide to people recognize edible plants. Every plant we have on this planet has a purpose, even the poisonous ones. The only one thing with the poisonous ones is their medicine is so strong you just can't take it straight. But it does have a reason. Those plants are actually the ones that are used for cancer treatments and stuff. You just have to know how to use them. But the point is, if the economy collapsed and the grocery stores and the restaurants shut down, that's probably one of the best things that could happen because it forces you to go out 5 feet out your door and start looking at your lawn and then the trees. People don't realize most of the trees you have in your neighborhood are edible, and that the weeds come out of your lawn are edible, and it's the best medicine and food you could have. Matter of fact, if you want to heal your liver or your kidneys, bitter foods, bitter greens are what heals you. Dandelions are bitter, and that is what the bitter part is. If animals that eat in nature, they're used to it, and that's what we're supposed to be used to, but we've got way off track with the sugar thing. We don't even know what tastes right, what's natural anymore. But the bitter...
People tend to season their foods a lot and so forth. I agree.
But the bitter stuff is what actually heals you because not only does it help create the digestive fluids and the stomach acids, and everybody's stomach acid is pretty much off now. It's too weak, and that's why we have H. pylori and all these problems. But the bitter taste on your tongue, when it activates your tongue, it activates the vagus nerve, which helps your liver dump its toxins into the gallbladder, which then goes into your colon. So, but you need that, and people there's no more bitterness in our diet, And not only that, but the greens out there, the chlorophyll and the vitamins and the nutrients, the minerals and the saponins and the sterols and the glycosides, everything that's in these things is what we need for health, and we don't hardly, even the organic stuff you get in the store doesn't even have that anymore, because that soil's been milked to death. There's not anything left in it. And these wild plants have taproots that go down like 200 feet, way, way, way below anything that's raised on a farm. These wild plants don't even need water. They are so self-sustainable. They're survivors. They know they're so full of life and power that if you eat a survivor, you become a survivor, and you could totally live off of dandelions. I even have a video on YouTube where I go out in my bathrobe in the morning. I'm yawning, and I've got my little fuzzy slippers on, and I just grab a bunch of the yellow dandelion flowers, just pop them in my mouth and eat them, and then I pull out some of the plants, the roots, the leaves, everything, the whole plant, and I put it in my blender with some coconut water, some dates or whatever, and I make a green weed smoothie. And I put it in a glass jar, take it with me when I'm driving around, and my God, the energy level I have is through the roof, and I don't even know what it's like to be sick anymore. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing, and I know for myself what I like to do is in the morning this is how I usually start my day, and it's amazing how long you can go without eating. When I do this is I start out with spinach, and what I just do is I just throw it in the blender with some water, and then I just, and you can throw in quite a bit, actually, a couple of cups or better.
Yeah.
Blend it down, and then you just drink it,
right.
And after a while, you start getting used to it, like, this is just what I want to have after a while, It doesn't mean that once in a while I like to go out and have a soda. I do that, but the thing is I just noticed that, like you said, you just have this better energy. For some reason, you don't feel that you need to eat, and when it comes time to eat, you become a lot more discretionary about what you put in your mouth.
Right.
It's just a natural reaction, and it's funny how we've taken the business of diet and nutrition to such a confusing push-me, pull-you sort of a level that people start to question what is the right thing to do, and it's almost as though advertising, or whatever you want to call it, has just made us kind of dumb.
Yeah. Well, nature has already figured it out. It's just if it doesn't work, it's not going to last long. It's the survival of the fittest. It's the way things continue. Only the stuff that works continues. The rest dies off. And it's been millions of years. So the only stuff that's left now on this planet is stuff that works. So let's learn from it. Let's copy it. For example, the blender that you mentioned is great because, like, juicing is good if you have some kind of life-threatening thing and you want to really, or you want to do a cleanse, a juice fast or something, but you can't live off that because there's no fiber in it.
Right.
It's good for cleansing, but it's not good for long-term stuff. So if you go for long-term stuff, like for everyday use, the blender's the way to go, because I just throw the whole apple, the whole celery, the whole watermelon, the rind, the seeds, everything in this thing, and it liquefies it. And what happens is you get the fiber. Like if you were a horse eating an apple off a tree, you just go, you just chomp, and you swallow it, and you don't separate the juice from the pulp and the fiber. Like you need fiber. That's one of the most important things for anti-aging, and fiber has so many uses and things that is important for people don't realize the connection between that and your face for everything. But the blender is great because what it's basically doing is chewing for you. It's actually masticating everything into a liquid, which is what people are supposed to be doing. They kind of forget that, like when you're eating food, you're actually supposed to chew your food.
I think they don't, because sometimes, especially in a day where so much is processed, they don't chew it a lot of times, probably because of how bad it tastes when you chew it enough.
Well, it's not just that. It's like, okay, people are lazy, they're in a hurry, and the only reason people eat nowadays is for two things. One is taste. Okay, well, once the thing has hit your tongue and you chewed a few times, that sensation, that initial sensation of that stimulation, that thrill of that new thing hitting your tongue is gone, so then they swallow it. So now you've got these unchewed, poorly digested things going down, and your stomach doesn't have teeth. It can't break it down anymore. So now you have putrefied food going through your system. You start having more problems. But the problem is people don't chew their food enough, and that is one of the main. You're not going to get any nutrition out of food that's not broken down and doesn't have the predigestive enzymes from your mouth in it. It's it's a big chain reaction. And the blender does that. It helps break it down for you so the nutrients can actually assimilate into your body a lot better. You still have to swish it in your mouth a bit to get the pre-digestive enzymes. So even if you're blending, they say chew your even the liquid stuff.
Right.
But there's so many basic things that we've kind of like lose touch with. The natural design of nature, we just try to bypass that because we think we're better. We think we're in the 21st century, so who needs nature?
Right.
Pop a pill or, drink some magic liquid or herb or whatever. It's going to fix all my problems and make me... No, it doesn't work that way. You still have to honor nature. You can't cheat nature. There's no shortcut, period.
Not at all. Now, because this book is titled Heal Your Face, and we really haven't talked a whole lot about the face itself, let's go ahead and talk about the face itself, and when a person looks in the mirror, what they see and how it correlates to what's actually going on in their body. The first thing I'd like to start with is because a lot of people, as they approach midlife, of course, you're always hearing all the commercials and reading all the ads, anti-aging, reverse aging, the skin, this, that, and the other. So let's talk about areas of the face that really relate to areas of the body when you start to see signs.
Yeah.
That says, okay, you need to start taking a look at this. And again, it's not just that because everything's interrelated to everything else. Well, like, for instance, bags under the eyes and darkness under the eyes. Tell us about that because that's one of the first things people can look for. That seems pretty easy to me.
That's your kidneys. The area around your eyes is your kidneys, especially underneath the eyes. And people have the book explains it in better detail, but like your kidneys handle water-soluble things, and your liver handles oil-soluble stuff.
Okay.
And what's even more fascinating is how you can read people on a much deeper level too. It's not just as simple as you've got bad kidneys. It's okay. Well, what causes that? And kidneys have a lot to do with emotion. Like people who have weak kidneys. The kidneys, what they do is they process what's usable from what's not usable in your blood, and they have to do a lot of decision making. And it's really interesting that people who have kidney issues are very emotional, and they have problems making solid decisions in life, business decisions, relationship decisions. They're very wishy-washy. It's just fascinating after studying people after people after people. And the Chinese have done this for thousands of years. How you can actually see the correlation between body parts and emotions, like liver. People have liver issues, or they have anger issues.
Right.
And it goes both ways. If your liver is clogged, and that's your biggest organ in your body, other than your skin, and it's like the size of a football, and it's inside you, and it's this giant thing that all your toxic things have to be filtered. It's like your car's filter. And imagine running your car for 120,000 miles with never changing your filter, which people usually never do in their body. So you've got this sludge in there that it's like trying to push toothpaste through a banana. It just, after a while, you can't push anything through there anymore, and you get backed up. And when people get backed up and they have too much stuff coming at them, what happens? You get irritated, and eventually you lash out and get angry. Well, that's what's happening inside you. You've got too much backing up in you, and you just leave me alone. That's how you become. And people who are kidneys, that's water. It's tears. It's crying. It's your blood. It's your fluids in your body. And after a while, when your kidneys start becoming weak, you become weak emotionally, thought-wise. And it's more than just, gee, I have wrinkles under my eyes. It's like, well, let's look at this on a much deeper level. And it goes both ways. If you have a lot of anger, it starts messing up your liver. Or if your liver gets messed up, you start becoming angry. It goes both ways, just like your kidneys or bowel conditions. People have trouble getting rid of things in their life. They're hanging on to codependent stuff. Their relationships. They're in a job they don't like. They're in a relationship they don't like. But they're hanging on to it. It's like, I just can't let go. And guess what? They're starting to have IBS and Crohn's and irritable bowel and it's amazing. It's just fascinating how you start seeing the connection between all this stuff.
Right.
And but people don't realize is your skin is the outer layer of your liver. It's connected. So if you've got brown spots on your body, or not just your face, it's all over your body.
Right.
That means your liver's got brown spots. It's deep. It's connected. Your skin is like I said, it's the dashboard of your car. It's got warning lights on it. And if you know where to look, and like for example, and this is why I record. Why I have the pictures of the hands and the feet and everything else, including the whole map of your body. There are lines running down your body, your arms, your legs, and if you have a mole or a pimple or a growth on one side of your body, chances are you've got something similar on the other side. It's just kind of symmetrical. And once you realize what meridian or line that's on, you can say, like say you have a mole next to on the right side of your abdomen or something. When you say, well, that's on your kidney meridian. Well, you look on your face and you say, is there something under my eyes? Yeah, there is. Wow. Hey, and now let's look on my feet, my hands. Wow, I got a bump there too. So you start cross-checking. There's so many ways to cross-check this to see if that's really true, And there's at the hair pattern. Where is your hair getting thin or gray? That means you're losing energy on that part of your head. Well, what's that part of your head connected to? Wow, that's connected to the kidneys too. And it starts to actually become fun in a morbid kind of way after a while.
Sure, yeah, you become your own little mystery detective.
Exactly. So it's not just like a hypothetical. He's just making up this fluff stuff. No, this is, and then once you start cross-checking with other parts of your body, and you go, oh, you know what? I really do have some issues with eating sweet stuff and sugar and breads and wow, and cheese and alcohol or whatever it is, or milk. You go, I guess I can't hide it. It is showing up on me. But once you realize what causes it, you just feel like a sense of control finally. Like you're not out of control. You're not like this victim of aging. You can actually start taking control of your life and go, oh, well, now I know what to do.
It's really fascinating because over the years we've been broadcasting our program is that we usually have pretty much always approached when it comes to health and nutrition from a very holistic approach. There was a lady out of New York, for instance, who has been producing books on herbs and weeds, and in fact, her last name is Weed. And it's funny because when you listen to people like her or yourself, for instance, and you realize how simple this is, but it takes a little bit of work just because the work comes from in you changing your habits, changing your beliefs, and changing the knowledge that you always thought was the right way to go. And most of that knowledge you gain by passively sitting back and having somebody tell you these are the right things from an authority standpoint, rather than, going out there and looking into things for yourself.
Yeah.
And you take a look at this, and it really becomes quite a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And it becomes exciting. And you hear somebody like you, for instance, on this program, who get excited about talking about this because it's almost as though you keep learning a new thing you didn't know each and every day. And that right there, if you want to talk about reversing aging, is huge.
Right.
When you're learning something new every day, you become excited, enthusiasm definitely starts rolling back the clock.
Well, it's called empowerment. The more power you get, it's energy. The whole universe is just energy. And the more energy you get, the more force your body has to heal itself. The more you feel drained, like you're not in a job you like, you're in a relationship that's abusive, or you're just not feeling, you're not in your element, you start getting depressed. You get depressed, your body starts withering away until eventually you die. So the point is, are you getting energy or are you losing energy? And if you're getting energy, then, now we're getting into my other book, The Prosperity Secret. It's all about empowering yourself to being so free that you are not only getting younger, you're doing what you want to do in life. And the real secret is not learning new stuff. It's getting rid of and letting go and just giving up. That's the real secret. It's like all this crap that we've been told all our lives by society, by our parents, that's all somebody's opinion. Mm-hmm. It's somebody's opinion. Like back in the 1400s, everybody, the scientists, the authorities told you the world was flat. That was the authorities. They knew everything. They were so in right. Of course, we know it's not true now. But the point is that I don't care what the authorities say. I don't care what society, the news, your parents. It's all messed up. It's a faulty programming in a hard drive. So the best thing you could do is just walk away, step away from everything, give up, let go. And I had my 40 days in the desert. I literally, at one point, gave up everything I had and literally took my clothes off, was naked in the desert for 4 days. I said, I don't care if I die. I'm starting over, and I'm only going to just do what feels right. I've got nobody to answer to. I've got no more identity, no more driver's license, no Social Security. I'm done.
Right.
I'm a guy on a rock with no clothes on. I'm there with you, Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Turtle, and Mr. Bird, you know? And it was amazing how when you realize you need nothing, that's when you get everything. That's when the truth comes to you and you say, you know, that I'm going to just eat that plant over there. And right. I did. And I said, I'm not dead. I'm okay. Mm-hmm. Wow, hey. You know, and after a while you realize that the simpler you get, the more higher you get as far as feeling good about it. I mean, I was never more turned on in my life than I was standing naked in the desert with nothing. Mm-hmm. And it was so empowering that I mean, I haven't been sick since. I have more, I mean, if you look at the before and after pictures of me, I'm 50 now, but if you look at me back when I was 28, I look older then than I do now. And
I know, isn't that incredible to think, too, because I hear this quite a bit, Marcus, is that you hear teenagers and even kids, children, and they're always saying how tired they are, and I look around and I can say, well, I can see why. It's not really their fault. It's just when you're living in town or in a city, you know, where there's so much information, there's so much cellular phone activity, so much distraction, you know, it stands to reason that getting out of bed just wipes you out.
It's overstimulating. You don't know where to start. There's just everybody's selling you something, everybody's trying to tell you something. It's like, you know, you just give up, and that's the best thing you could do, just clear it all out. And it's like, it's so simple as to just walk out in your yard and eat a dandelion. Oh my God, it's so simple. Like, you don't have to prepare food. You don't have to go in your kitchen. You don't have to heat up anything. You don't have to plug in anything. Forget the blender. Just put the thing in your mouth and eat it. Right. How hard is that? You know?
Well, just like I tell a lot of people when it came to cooking, my wife one time brought home, it was called a 4-ingredient cookbook. Now, honestly, I never even opened the pages. I just took the philosophy itself. I said, 4 ingredients, that's interesting. And it was amazing when you use that, how many different types of foods you can actually make just based on 4 ingredients, and how you can rotate. And the other thing, too, is that I, for a lot of years, I started cooking to where I wouldn't use seasonings, but I would try to say, well, I wonder how, you know, this food here, knowing how it tastes, would work with this, you know. And so you come up with some pretty unique stuff. And pretty soon, seasonings, although they can be nice, there's nothing wrong with them, but you just kind of start working with the natural taste and flavors of foods and combining them that way, and it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I have another YouTube video where I just go outside, and I you know, a lot of the stuff that we have is decorative, ornamental plants. Are edible. I have a whole bunch of flowers in my front yard. I started eating them. I go, these are great. They actually taste pretty sweet, you know. And like, we got pots of rosemary in the back. You know, it's one of the strongest cancer-fighting. It makes your hair grow back. It's amazing. It's good for your brain, your nervous system, and you just it looks like pine needles. You just, you know, you can eat them straight. You make tea out of them. Speaking of pine needles, it's one of the best sources of vitamin C and B vitamins, and it's great. That's really good for your bronchioles, your
Now we're talking about pine needles from a pine tree. This is a tree that produces pine cones.
Yes, and matter of fact,
I've got a huge one out in my yard, and a huge pine tree, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, pine. The whole tree is edible. People don't realize this. They think it's just like this thing that causes shade and it's in the neighborhood. But the sap, the sticky goo that comes out of the trunk, that's the high source of B vitamins you could have. You can chew it like gum. That's where gum originally comes from. It's bitter, but that's good for you. The needles, you make tea out of it. It's the highest source of vitamin C. It's got 300 times more vitamin C than oranges do. The bark, the pine pollen, that yellow stuff that covers your car in the spring. Did you know that that's the best source of testosterone? You want to get your hormones going. That stuff will make you on fire. You like.
Now, just to be clear about this, because I'm going to take this at your word. So, if it's a tree that produces a pine cone, it's usable, just as what you're saying.
Anything that's got needles, pine, spruce, fir, they're all edible. The only thing that's not is, it's called a yew tree, and it's not even a pine tree. It looks kind of like a pine tree, but the needles are not really needles. If you look really close, they're actually soft leaves that look kind of like pine needles, but they're not. It's got red berries, which pine trees don't have. But the yew tree, the berry is, the flesh of the berry is edible. It's really good. The seed isn't. And the leaves, even though they're considered quote-unquote toxic, you can't eat the leaves straight. It is one of the most powerful breast cancer and cancer things you could use for healing, but you just have to know how to use it. But the point is, pine trees, all pine trees are edible. I don't care what it is. It's got sharp, hard needles on it. White pine, fir, black, spruce, whatever it is.
Yeah, because this is a very, very large pine tree we're looking at. Do you just pull the pine needles, throw them in a blender, and
you
do the
snap off a twig and put it in your. You can make an infusion, which means you don't boil it. You just kind of leave it in like you can put make sun tea out of it, or
I see.
If you're in a hurry, you can boil it, but don't make it too high because But it does have a lot of constituents in it which protect the vitamin C. A lot of antioxidants, which are very, very powerful. And if anybody ever has a cold or a bronchitis or any kind of cough or really, really bad pine needle tea, bam, gone. It's amazing. I mean, it's powerful stuff. I mean, when the settlers, remember the scurvy back in the old days when the ships came over and they were dying? That's what the Indians gave them, was pine.
Wow.
They boiled pine and say, here, you guys need vitamin C, here. It's amazing.
I know what was amazing is when you hear a lot of people know the story of the Donner Party, and they said if they had realized that they just went just beneath the bark of the trees that were around them, they had more than plenty to eat. Oh
yeah, the inner bark of trees, that's life force, that's sheer life. The bark is like the outer protective layer, but underneath you've got toothpaste squeezing up through the tree up to the branches and the new stuff that's coming out. And if you break off that outer hard protective layer, that softer stuff inside, that is living life force, and you can live off that. You can grind it, you can eat it, you can chew it, or you can make powder it and make flour out of it, or you can make tea out of it. It's so, man, that's why my free food and medicine DVD set is all about. And it's just reacquainting people with how loving nature is, how it's just pushing this stuff up through the ground, saying, here, you need this. This is for you. It's a gift. It doesn't cost anything. Forget going to Whole Foods and paying $300 a week.
No, goodness gracious. Marcus, you bring up something really interesting now. About 3 or 4 years ago, we started doing a series of interviews on a book series that's called, the first one's titled Anastasia. And what was fascinating, are you familiar with that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great. See, so there are people that I've talked with on the program. No, I haven't, but I share one element of the first book that to me was pretty astounding, and I also, and there are also, the sub-references to different resources where they've gotten some of this information. One of them was The Secret Life of Plants. Well, anyway, what the suggestion in Anastasia is that if you have a garden, what you want to do every day is that you go out and you wash your feet and your hands into the garden, but what you do is you just use water only. And you wash it, so what you do is you're washing and you're rinsing your feet and your hands off into the garden with just water again into the garden. What happens is that the plants take on this residue that you washed off, and they begin to chemically alter themselves because they intuitively know what your body needs.
Yeah.
So therefore they produce these things for you. It's almost as though the plant says, I love you so much, I want to see you in vibrant health, and so it actually adjusts itself so when you actually take it in, that it's its own medicine. And I thought, that is astounding.
It is. It's totally true. For example, that happened with my girlfriend. She had and she didn't even know this. I have this across the street here. This looks like a palm tree. Anybody looked at it and say, it's just a palm tree, right? Well, these birds go nuts over this fruit that's on it, and I didn't realize it till after a while, but it's a saw palmetto plant for male hormones, right? My girlfriend, in her backyard, guess what she's got growing? A chaseberry tree. That's her female hormones. Well, when my girlfriend moved in with me years later, guess what started popping out of the ground? Chaseberries. Well, how did nature know that? And it's really funny that all around L.A., for example, where there's all these stressed-out people, St. John's wort's starting to grow like crazy because, people need that. It just seems to know what you need.
Right. If you read The Secret Life of Plants, you can see, boy, this science fiction is way beyond science fiction. It's pretty phenomenal. But anyway.
Oh, there is a consciousness in nature, and the more you get in touch with that and allow it to... you just fall in love. You just can't help but feel love. I mean, it's just like, wow, nature really does love me. It's like we're all connected, and it's just, if you just start to flow, to surf the wave of life, and really just open up to what is being offered to you for free. There's like nature, that plant that's growing outside your yard that just popped out for, every year that there's different weeds that grow. There's new stuff that just kind of shows up out of nowhere. Where did that come from? And when you realize that that's given to you as a gift, it's like nature's, it's like reaching out to you saying, here, you just can't help but be touched by it and go, oh my God, like there's no MLM attached to this. There's no.
And see, again, because like you said, you start seeing the mysteries of life come around you, so you start having more enthusiasm. Nature is saying, what are you doing aging? This is ridiculous. I'm trying to show you, just follow me, enjoy the mystery of life, and you're going to find yourself back to that kingdom.
Yeah.
As Jesus once said, enter the kingdom as a child, because you'll have that back again. Now, Markus, tell us, first of all, go ahead and give our listeners out a website they can find out more about your work, as I have a particular listener on here that says he's older, poorer, and slower than yesterday, so I said, get this guy's website, and this will turn this around for you, probably.
Yeah, well, markusnews.com, MARKUS, NEWS, markusnews.com is my website for newsletters and videos, and just to give you, it's free stuff. I send it to you every week or two, and you get a video or some that connects you with free information and things like that. My main website is Markus. Oh no, wait, it's beautifylife.com. Beautifylife.com. And there's other sites too, like the raw food website is gorawnow.com. But
Markus News, that's a good starting point.
Yeah, that's a good start. That's a good way to get to just fun, free information, and there's like a little banner next to it if you want to, buy a book or a DVD or something, or and I also have another website, markusebooks.com, where you can download. There's 80 different, basically any health condition you could ever imagine, from Alzheimer's to zits to to hormones to prostate to whatever. You just look it up, and there's an ebook for that, and it tells you what causes it, what to do about it. It's all natural, herbal. Heal yourself, fix yourself. Don't go to the doctor. This is what you do. These are the herbs that are for that. This is what the common causes for it, what you eat for it. It's basically, I'm empowering people to take matters in their own hands and just stop waiting, to stop spending lots of money, and to just start doing it, fixing yourself, like right now, today, just.
Right. Now, you had mentioned something just not too long ago on the program about hair loss and regrowing hair. Now, is this natural for men? And you're even seeing it in women now, beginning to see thinning hair and hair loss, or is there something happening there, and that's the result of it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you know how you look around all these young guys now, like they're all bald. It's like they're all losing hair. That's the big thing now, is have a only place they can grow hair is a goatee. Like, that's the big thing now. I'm a man. I got a goatee.
You got the goatee and the spirit pad.
Yeah, I know. And they're all losing hair, so they're shaving their heads. So you know why that is because most men are eating meat. And the meat is what they're eating just because they're a man and they have to have manly food and get big muscles. They eat cow. Well, the cow is a 2,000-pound animal that, all the unnatural steroids and hormones and gross stuff that they're giving these animals in a factory farm in the first place, we already know that that's not good for us. But what people don't realize is the cow, naturally, even if the thing was raised in nature, it has natural hormones that make it become 2,000 pounds really quick, really fast. And if you eat an animal that has hormones that make you get that big that fast, you get muscles really big and fast, but it makes everything else grow in your body real fast too, like prostate cancer, things like that. That's why a lot of these bodybuilders are dropping dead at 45, because it's caught up to them. And what it does, it raises the DHT levels in your head, which makes your testosterone levels go up, and your hair starts falling out. A lot of the hair stuff is hormone related. That's why women are starting to get hair on their face, on their body, they're like chin hair.
Right.
That means that their female reproductive organs are starting to mess up. So a lot of it's hormone related, and a lot of it is, and it's not only that, there's different parts of your head correlate with different parts of your body, so you can tell from where your thinning or turning gray or falling out, what body part is going weak on you, and then you can start associating that with, well, why? Like, exactly, you know, if it's the kidney area of your head, that means you've got protein and sugar issues. If it's the top of your head, which is your heart area, that means you're starting to have cholesterol or you know, whatever. And then there's, you know, of course, stress is a big one. That'll knock out your hair no matter what. There is a slight, when you detox and you cleanse, you will lose hair, and it's part of it, but it comes back twice as strong. So you just got to know what's going on. You got to be aware of this. You got to look at that's what this book is about. It teaches you to recognize what's going on with you, and it makes you more comfortable with it. Like, oh, okay, I know what that's happening. Okay, I'm cool with that. I mean, I know what to do, and so it's all about recognizing the signs of nature and being in control of it. You know, it's interesting. You mentioned the Bible. In Genesis, it even says, you know, 125. That's supposed to be a normal age.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, okay, why do we think 80 is like the golden number? Where did that come from?
Well, look at us. We say beyond 50, which means you're at least halfway there.
I mean, it's like, no way. That's not halfway for me. I'm 50 now, and I feel like I seriously swear that I am better now than when I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I really, really believe when I hear these stories of people, you know, that used to be 400 years old or whatever it was, it's like, I get it. I know you see the grand design, and you see where we kind of went off track and messed up,
right.
and it's just...
Well, we didn't have a lot of processing back then.
No.
We moved, we breathed, and we ate what was in front of us.
And they didn't have mortgages, and they didn't have lines of credit and jobs, and, you know.
And keeping up with the Kardashians, which can age you as well.
Sitting in line at the daycare center with the SUV, you know, it's just what we call living is not living, it's actually dying. And real living is being free. It's being free to be you and not being a prisoner to any system that, you know, I mean, you got to feel like you are totally just, if you just want to up and leave and go to Tahiti tomorrow, you got to be able to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
I agree with you. I know I was just recently watching a movie that I really got a kick out of. It was called Up in the Air with George Clooney. Mm-hmm. And his job is to go out and basically fire people. So,
I love that. I saw that movie.
Yeah. And so there was that scene where he sits in front of the guy where he fires, and he's got the young girl next to her, and he fires this guy, and he gets a little upset about the whole thing. But he talks about, you know, how much do they pay you your first year out of college to give up your dreams?
Yeah, right.
And the guy just kind of sits there like, yeah, $20,000.
Yeah.
You know, but you could see that really hit him like, you know, that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I know.
But, you know, the thing is we've talked a lot about these kind of things on this program, and people that they feel shackled and tied down, you know, they've made choices that have put them there. And we say, you know, look, if you can engage and you can trust in the process, if you can trust in God, universe, that if you, like what you did, you just went out and you stripped down everything and you said, I'm starting my life anew, I'm going to take control of it, that sure, these chains that you have created are there, but you will find them to be falling away and to be taken care of if you can really trust in the process of this abundance, that these things will all work themselves out.
Well, that's what faith is.
And your life will be freer than you can ever imagine possible.
Exactly.
And I know that that's true.
Well,
serendipity, miracles, and magic are very true.
That's what faith is. It's giving up, letting go, and not being the one who feels like he's in control, because we're not in control. And that's why we end up being in victim mode. Oh, poor me, all this stuff's happening to me. Well, just get out.
How do I leave, like in this movie we talked about, I'm making $90,000 a year, my kids got the medication, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But you could see that a light switch hit on, and he says, you know, maybe I should trust and do this, mainly for his kids. If I'm going to inspire them to be this way, I've got to be that example, and I've got to trust that this can work itself out, you know, sort of thing. So,
I mean, what are we teaching our kids? If you think about it, we're trying to keep up this facade of everything's fine, we're steady, we're stable, but we're not really happy. But hey, you got to do that, right, to pay your bills. And the kids are picking up on this. They know that there's stress in the relationship. They know that you're not happy being this 9-to-5 drone. And it's like, what are you teaching them? They're going to be the same thing. They're going to say, well, this sucks. Why do I want to live like this? You know,
student loan debts and you name it.
Yeah, and it's like the best thing you can do is to let go, give up, and start over. And this time, don't be the one calling the shots. Let the truth come to you. And that's what I realize is you can't. Anytime you go after something, money, a girl, whatever it is, you chase them away. You know, if you want something to come to you, you make room for it. It'll come to you, but you don't go after it. You attract. You don't go running after things, and that's kind of the secret. And nature's already figured it. God, the universe has already got everything perfected. All you got to do is surf the wave. It's already there. Just go for it. And it's so neat once you realize you can never. Well, what's the worst fear? You're going to die. Well, what's the main cause of death that people fear? Starvation. Starvation of food, of relationships, of love. Well, once you realize you can't starve because all the weeds are edible, you're just got like, wow, I've got a base to work from now. I've got security. I know that, you know, if the government collapses, God forbid, the worst case scenario happens, you know I can go 5 feet and eat that green thing that's coming out of the crack in the sidewalk.
It's funny you should say that too, Marcus, because I remember when the Y2K scare was going on, and it was funny because it was the early part of that year, or maybe it was the year before that, I was hearing, what's this Y2K thing? And at first I got incredibly alarmed by it. And then I just started kind of sitting with that thought for a minute, and I thought, well, wait a minute. So what if a computer shuts down and it isn't going to stop a stream from flowing or the sun from rising? I mean, what the hell's going on here?
I was funny.
So I didn't prepare for it at all.
I gave a speech in Toronto saying that if the economy collapses, it's probably the best thing that could happen. Why? Because most of you are probably working in a job you don't like to pay for a house and a car that aren't really your dream house or dream car, but yet you're killing yourself to pay for it, and you're probably over your head in it, and you're this drone, you're getting old, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, if all that was taken away from you, boy, what a relief that would be. And one thing you learn in life is that when something's taken away from you, you usually get something better to replace it. It's
usually you do.
Yeah, and it's usually more right for you. Whatever the next thing is, it's more right for you. So, and a lot of times you don't even look for it. It just kind of appears.
Right.
And so you start seeing a pattern after a while, and you say, you know what, I'm just going to let go.
Right.
I'm just going to let this continue.
And you start smiling because the mystery begins unfolding, and you just don't know what's going to be next.
Yeah, the great design of this genius design of everything. The great maker was, wow. I'm in love with the elegance of how everything's already been thought out. It's already there. Just let it. Just live it. And that's what. And getting back to how all this started, when you start living this way, you start liking what you see in the mirror, because you literally will watch the years go backwards. And it's like, people make a reference when they see my pictures every year. It's like that Brad Pitt movie where he gets younger every year.
Ah, okay.
It actually is happening. If you look at the pictures on the website of how I look like when I was 29, 35, 45, 50, it's going in reverse. It's amazing. And my energy level is unstoppable. It's to throw your glasses away, to literally hear what's going on 4 rooms away. My hair is like, well, people make fun of me because of my hair, because it's like I'm like this. It's growing out of control. It's
I believe that I might have a question here from a listener, Old Hobie, who's on the line. Old Hobie, did you have a question for our guest today?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hey, I finally got straightened out on the website, Marcus, and I did sign up for your newsletter, but I'm a little confused on the free ebooks.
Oh, they're not free. There's one sample one. They're all under $10.
I see.
But no, it's ebooks on any health condition. There's a bunch of them. I basically spent 30 years of research, and it's over 3,000 pages of information on any. And most of it I've tried on myself. I mean, that's the bottom line. Is like, this is all stuff that I have physically actually done And I've probably put more research into this than a doctor. A doctor goes to medical school for 7 years, and he gets 45 minutes of nutritional counseling, and they learn how to heal symptoms. I, on the other hand, spend a lifetime, because I was actually born with a weak immune system. I almost died 4 times, and it was really bad. By the time I was in my mid-20s, I was bleeding when I went to the bathroom. It was bad. If you name it, I had it. I couldn't drive a car more than 20 feet without stopping and opening the door and coughing out a bucket load of phlegm because I was choking to death. So I had to learn the hard way what real health was, and I tried all the trendy fads, the diets, the shark cartilage, the supplements, whatever it was. $1,000 a month. And I finally realized, and then I found this book by Norman Walker. He said basically the guy lived to be 120 or something. He basically said juicing and enemas, and I said that's kind of creepy or weird, but I'll try it. And then the more simple it was, the more powerful it was, and I realized this is the answer. And then my path. So basically everything I figured out from that moment on, I started writing down. I said this is what heals anything, and I got people from all over the world now writing me saying, whatever it is they have, you name it. I mean, my dad had prostate cancer. His PSA was through the roof. It was like 250 or something. It was ridiculous. A number that nobody's ever even heard of. They said he's got like a few weeks to live. I said, are you willing to change your lifestyle? He says, yeah. I said, this means you're going to have to not eat your bread, your potatoes, your alcohol. You're going to have to literally change everything. He says, okay, I want to live. PSA went down to 0, cancer gone within 30 days. So that's why I wrote these books, was to, whatever health condition you use this is what, and for $10 or less, it literally could change your life. And I made it affordable, so no matter how poor you are, because one thing I learned was if you give something away for free, people don't appreciate it.
They don't usually use it either.
I've actually given things to people, and who had a life-threatening disease. I gave them the book, and a month later, I said, "Did you do it? How was it?" He said, "Oh, I didn't really look at it." But if they pay anything, even $1, $10, whatever it is, it means something suddenly to them. It's like they earned it. You know what I mean? And so that's why I do that.
Did you have one more question? We've got about 1 minute left.
Well, he doesn't have that link from his homepage. He doesn't have something to link to where I go get these books.
Yeah, actually, if you go to if you need anything, just go to markusproducts.com with a K. But Markus eBooks is that's the site that you're talking about, where you go to the books, right? Where you download the books.
MarkusEbooks.com.
Markus, MarkusEbooks.
Okay, I'll try it again. Thank you very much for letting me on. Keep a smiling. By the way, real quick, I want to tell you that I had an experience 30-some years ago where I got all clogged up with phlegm, and I was having an awful time, choking and so on, and I went to doctors, and I finally went to a friend who was a health nut and read the health books, and they gave me a list of vitamins to take, and it cleared up.
Well, it's also not doing what causes it, like eating bread and cheese and milk and stuff. But that's really simple. You can't. There's no magic herb that's going to make everything go away.
Mm-hmm.
But if you stop doing what's causing it, that's the simplest way to real health. Because ultimately, down the line, even those supplements and pills aren't going to stop. You're still rusting away underneath. It's still going to catch up to you at some point.
The book is Heal Your Face. Our guest today, Mr. Markus Rothkranz, and his website is markusnews.com.
Mm-hmm. With a K.
Good. Markus, what a pleasure to have you here on the program today.
Same here. I really enjoyed it, Dan.
We'll look forward to doing it again.
Same here.
You bet. Take care.
Okay.
We also want to thank you, the listeners out there, for tuning in. Again, the book is Heal Your Face, and his website is markusnews.com. You can also find that at our website at beyond50radio.com, the number 50. We do have a free weekly e-newsletter. Be sure to sign up for that as well. That's beyond50, number 50. at beyond50radio.com. I'm Daniel Davis. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, live your day past halfway.